Today I'm going to show off an underappreciated hunter exotic piece of armour in the Lucky Raspberry. So together with the right subclass, exotic weapons and mods, we're going to turn our hunter into an Electro Archer that's going to dominate in PVE. So the following is a hunter PVE build with Lucky Raspberry and Trinity Ghoul. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. So Lucky Raspberry may not be as powerful as something like Orpheus Rig or Raiden Flux, but with the right tools you can put together a nice little hunter build that will work fine in low level PvE content like strikes, nightfalls and battlegrounds to help you tear through a bunch of enemies with ease. So one of the themes running through this build is grenades, and the exotic armour helps recharge grenade energy. The elemental well mods then help regenerate super energy faster through grenade kills, and the Font of Wisdom. So using grenades are going to help us rapidly charge our super, meaning we should have that super more often, helping make our hunter become devastating in PvE content. And to top things off, we're going to throw in some Warmind cells into the mix for an added bit of extra damage. Well, without further ado, let's dive into the build, and first of all, let's have a look at the exotic armour. So Lucky Raspberry is an exotic hunter chest armour. And looking at the perks, we've got Probability Matrix, so increases the chaining capability of arc bolt grenades, and it has the chance to recharge each time it deals damage. And a full chain always recharges. And we've got increased resilience too. So the main benefit here is going to be Probability Matrix and chaining arc bolt grenades, and that's going to be used to help us create elemental wells through the Font of Wisdom, and we're going to get our super back even faster. Well, next up, let's have a look at the subclass. So for the subclass, I'm going to be using the Way of the Wind, and this is bottom tree for the Arcstrider subclass for the hunter. And looking at the perks here, we've got Disorientating Blow, so strike an enemy with this melee ability to disorient the target and nearby enemies. We've got Focus Breathing, so sprinting recharges your dodge ability and increased maximum sprint speed. We've got Combat Meditation, so while critically wounded, melee and grenades recharge drastically faster. And finally we've got Lightning Reflexes, so you're harder to kill while dodging. The main benefit here is Combat Meditation. It's going to help us charge our abilities faster, including, crucially, those grenades. And this one is going to work well with our exotic armor perk, Probability Matrix, to help us chain together grenade kills. And if we don't, then it's going to help us get grenade energy back much faster. Well, next up, let's have a look at the weapons. So for this build, I'm going to be using the 7th Seraph Carbine, Trinity Ghoul and Sub-Zero Salvo. So the energy and the power weapons are using arc damage, and the reason for this is we're going to be using the arc subclass and the affinity is going to help us with the elemental well mods. So let's have a look at the weapons in a closer bit of detail. So the 7th Seraph Carbine is a legendary kinetic auto rifle. It's a precision frame, meaning the weapon's recoil pattern is much more predictably vertical. And for PvE, auto-loading holster and Vorpal weapon would be a good role. And the most popular role out there in the community at the moment is 4th times the Charm and Rampage. To get this one, it's a random drop from various activities like Strikes, Crucible, Gambit. So it's a random world drop, so just keep an eye out for random legendary weapons. And it does mean there's no 100% way to get the weapon, so you do have to have a little bit of luck. So the Carbine is a popular one for PvE given the strong rolls, but that is even increased taking into account the Warmind cell generation, and we are going to do that exactly in this build, and that works well with the Warmind cell mods. So next up we've got the Trinity Ghoul, first introduced during Forsaken back in Season 4 of Destiny 2, and this one is a really powerful bow when paired with the Catalyst. So it's gone from pretty average to one of the best PvE weapons in the game. So looking at the perks on the combat bow, so we've got Split Electron, so fires an arrow that splits when released, and aiming down sights and fully drawing the bow both decrease the spread. And we've got Lightning Rod, so precision kills grant the next shot chain lightning capabilities. So to get Trinity Ghoul, it's a random world drop exotic, so finding it out there in the wild, or you can grind Nightfalls or check Zur at the weekend. But do be aware, you do need the Forsaken expansion to pick up this weapon. And finally, in the power slot, I'm using Sub-Zero Salvo, and it is a legendary power rocket launcher with a precision frame, meaning the weapon fires a small auto-tracking missile, and missiles lock onto targets when aimed. The created role comes with Demolitionist and Ambitious Assassin, as well as Impact Casing and Hard Launch. And also for PvE, Chain Reaction Ambitious Assassin would be a good one too. Well, those are the weapons. Now let's check out the mods. So I'm using a combination of mods here, including Charge with Light, Elemental Wells, and also Warmind Cell mods too, and all combined together to improve damage output for our Hunter in PvE. So first of all, I'm using Elemental Charge. So you become Charged with Light by picking up an Elemental Well, and if the Elemental Well's element type matches your subclass, then you gain 2 stacks of Charge with Light. Next up, I'm using Elemental Ordnance. So defeating a combatant with grenade spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type. And to go with that, I'm using the Font of Wisdom. So picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants you a temporary significant increase to your intellect, improving the recharge rate of your super. So basically this gives you a plus 50 intellect boost for 30 seconds, and it's going to boost your super regeneration significantly. But do be aware that intellect cannot go above 100. And finally, I'm using Argent Ordnance. So while Charged with Light, readying or firing a rocket launcher grants increased damage and reload speed, and damage a combatant with rocket consumes 1 stack of Charged with Light. So the Elemental Well mods can be picked up from the Helm's War table, and they're new in Season of the Chosen. You can use one mod to create a well, so here I'm using Elemental Ordnance, and then through the Font of Wisdom, that is going to help recharge super energy. Given we are using Elemental Ordnance to get wells from grenade kills, this works really well with Demolitionist, and also Combat Meditation on our subclass. So I am using Demolitionist on my Sub-Zero salvo, so that is helping me get grenade energy back. And we do want to have as many grenades as possible, and they want to be constantly recharging to help us generate wells. So we pick them up and then we recharge that super energy. So we've got an extra damage boost from our rockets because of the Charge with Light mod Argent Ordnance. So once activated, Argent Ordnance promises dealing damage to powerful combatants gives you a major increase to rocket launcher damage for a short time, consuming 1 stack of Charge with Light. And when you're Charged with Light and you've got your rockets out, you'll see a buff down on the left hand corner called God Slayer Warheads active, so you know it's time to fire off those rockets. And across the board, Argent Ordnance gives about a 20% buff to rocket launchers, which is pretty good. So there are some Warmind Cell mods you can use too. Here I'm using Global Reach, and that makes you have a larger explosion and affect enemies farther away. So basically explode the Warmind Cell with your weapons, and it's going to affect enemies a little bit further away. There also is Rage of the Warmind, so you've got additional solar damage from cells you destroy. Wrath of Rasputin, solar splash damage kills have a chance to generate Warmind cells, and also Burning Cells, so destroying a cell causes a burst of solar energy that makes enemies burn. So pick and choose the Warmind cells that you want to add, because the Warmind cells are a nice little addition, and they are going to be created by our 7th Seraph Carbine, so do make use of those Warmind cell mods. If you haven't got any, go to Banshee 44 every day at reset and start your collection today. Well, finally, let's check out some example gameplay. So what you want to do is run around and get kills with Trinity Ghoul and spread around that arc damage with your lightning arrows. Then you want to throw some grenades and get some kills to spawn Elemental Wells and chain them together with our armour perk Probability Matrix. Build up your super through Font of Wisdom, and then spawn Warmind cells with the Seraph Carbine and destroy them for extra damage through Global Reach. Unleash your super, killing everything in your path, and then get some rocket kills with Argent Ordnance to get that damage boost. Build up some more grenade energy through Demolitionist weapons, and then throw more grenades to regen super energy, and rinse and repeat. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think of the build, and if you think it could be improved, share your ideas with the community. Well, that is it for this Hunter PvE build with Lucky Raspberry and Trinity Ghoul. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again, I'll see you soon.